Charania just dropped a major trade update on Kevin Durant, saying that it is likely he will be traded before the NBA draft, which is set for June 25th. We give you all the latest on why a Kevin Durant trade is now imminent right here on Rockets Digest. I'm Jace Andrews, and we appreciate you joining us. Let's get right into today's topic, as a new report suggests that the Rockets could land NBA superstar Kevin Durant before the NBA draft. Now, we all know that the Phoenix Suns are going to move on from Kevin Durant at this point. Him and Giannis Antetokounmpo have flooded the trade market with rumors and news, and it's not really that hard to see that the Houston Rockets are the top team for, honestly, both parties, but more in particular, Kevin Durant. They have Phoenix Suns' future first-round picks. It is the place where Kevin Durant can go win, and it's a place that Kevin Durant is familiar with, given he played his college ball at UT Austin. So, what exactly is going on with him now? Well, Charania dropped a lot of info, but the first one came yesterday when he talked about the new head coach. Now, this comes from Alec Elijah of Rockets SI, saying, quote, "As the Phoenix Suns announced their new coaching hire in Jordan Ott, reports swarmed about the next phase for Phoenix being to move on from former NBA MVP Kevin Durant." So if you don't know, the Phoenix Suns, who had fired their head coach, honestly, in part hoping to keep Kevin Durant, potentially finding a head coach that fit with him and he liked to potentially keep him in Phoenix, well, they decided to kind of go away from that. Not to say that Jordan Ott is not a bad coach or somebody that Kevin Durant does not like, but it had been reported that at this point, Kevin Durant will be traded, and yesterday was the first step to the next phase of the Phoenix Suns, as they hired Cleveland Cavaliers assistant coach Jordan Ott as their new head coach. Now, the reason this is important is because this kind of steps the Phoenix Suns into their next phase. It pushes them into, okay, it's time to move on from Kevin Durant. It's time to rebuild this team to some way, and some degree, and really take on a new identity, as this was supposed to be a super team. You had Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. They made it to the finals against the Milwaukee Bucks a couple years back, but they just couldn't get it going the past couple of years, and so that's kind of a big thing. Alec Elijah says this, saying, quote, "One of the most recent reports coming from senior NBA insider Charania detailed the escalation of trade talks and the Suns working eagerly to find a new home for the NBA superstar." And when he says eagerly, he means eagerly. It is reported that the Phoenix Suns will trade Kevin Durant before the NBA draft, which is set on June 25th. Likely because in the most recent report we got about Kevin Durant, talking about them lowering their asking price, the number one thing they wanted was the number 10 pick back this year. Who holds the number 10 pick from the Phoenix Suns from last year? Oh, that would be the Houston Rockets. They also have the Phoenix Suns 2027 first-round pick and a couple others that Phoenix had traded to them in past trades. And so, Shams Charania on NBA Today came out and dropped a huge thing on Kevin Durant. And it's really cool to kind of look and see what Shams says here, saying, quote, "Conversations will now begin to pick up on a potential trade of Kevin Durant out of Phoenix. Over the next 2 to 3 weeks, conversations will begin to heat up. I'm told the Suns will work with Durant and his business partner Rich Kleiman on a trade home." So that tells you all you need to know right there. Now that they have hired their head coach, they are fully putting every effort into trading Kevin Durant, into finding a trade home. And in the new NBA, I'm going to call it, it is more likely than not that players have a lot of say, especially in a player like Kevin Durant, who's 37 years old, probably looking at his final chapter in his NBA career. And the Phoenix Suns know this, and they have already said they are going to work with him on finding a trade home. Now, Kevin Durant has said he wants to win. Kevin Durant obviously played at UT, and in a lot of places, you have state income tax. Texas, you don't. So the contract that he has will be very much more valuable in Houston rather than in, let's say, LA or a different state that has state income tax. So in that aspect, it'd be a good place for him to come and kind of continue his career and kind of ride off in the sunset. It also works for Houston because they will be able to become one of the top teams in the Western Conference. Now, I do want to continue on here on what Shams Charania said in NBA Today, and he said, quote, "There was expected to be a robust market for him. 4 to 6 teams seriously interested in Durant before the NBA draft," end quote. That's a hard-hitting thing. The NBA draft is 20 days away. We've been talking about Kevin Durant trade rumors for, at this point, almost a month, because that's how long the season has been over for the Houston Rockets. It is going to happen very soon. Now, I can't say that it's going to be guaranteed to the Houston Rockets, but I do know that they are the favorite to land him. And just kind of some bullet points on what Charania said overall in NBA Today. This comes from Evan Sidery. We'll have another report from him in just a second. But Durant trade talks are about to escalate. Obviously, we know with the signing of their new head coach. Phoenix will work directly with Durant's business partner, Rich Kleiman, to find his new team. So that tells us right there that it's not just going to be the Phoenix Suns going out and looking for the team, but it also has to work with Kevin Durant, which honestly can kind of eliminate some of those 4 to 6 teams that will be expressing interest for Kevin Durant. So it is a lot to kind of digest, and in some ways, it's going to be interesting what that trade looks like. Obviously, the Rockets have a bunch of young talent, and the lowering of the asking price is great, but I still believe that the Rockets are going to have to give up a couple of players, including maybe some big ones. I've heard that Jalen Green could be interested. It could be included in a package. There's talks of Cam Whitmore being included in a package, but it is going to be a monumental and blockbuster trade when it does happen. And rightfully so. Kevin Durant is one of the NBA superstars, even though he's almost 37 years old. 26.6 points per game. He is just an otherworldly player, and honestly, if he doesn't tear his Achilles, I think there's potential talks of him being up there with LeBron James, and I think there still is, even though he did tear that. But at the same time, that's a year that he didn't get to play as much. That's a year that he wasn't on the court. That's a year that was taken away from him. And now we look at Kevin Durant, and not to say we look at him differently since that injury, because he has definitely bounced back, probably better than anyone ever has from an Achilles injury. But it is going to be a very interesting topic when it comes to seeing him on a winning caliber franchise, which is the Houston Rockets at this point. Now, Ime Udoka also is a very big players coach. He has great relations with a ton of players. And Kevin Durant is a guy who has had talks with coach. He's somewhat has the LeBron play style of his coach is also going to be like his friend, because let's be honest, Kevin Durant is now almost to the point where he could be a coach. LeBron is basically the coach of the LA Lakers, and so having Ime Udoka, who is a very player-friendly coach, I think works out perfectly for this. And in a lot of ways, it really kind of talks about the way that Kevin Durant has played his game all throughout his career, and it's just interesting. Now, Brian Windhorst also talked about this. I really like what he says, because he says, quote, "I'm like 98% sure he's not going to be a Sun next year. How it works out, though, I'm about 1% sure," end quote. And that tells you right there that there is a lot of question marks still to be discussed about Kevin Durant and where he will end up. And we talk about it a lot. The Rockets are by far the favorite to land him. However, that does not mean that they are going to be the ones to land him. That doesn't mean that the Rockets are 100% going to be that team. Are they the most likely? 1,000%. But the trade has to be right for both the Phoenix Suns, for Kevin Durant, and for the Houston Rockets, all working in unison. It can't just be one team or one part of that deal being like, yes, we like this, or two parts. It has to work for all three, and that's why this trade in particular is so fascinating to NBA fans. Now, there have been several trade proposals already being linked to the two teams with the Suns and the Rockets, attaining several young wings for the future, as well as multiple draft picks. This could seemingly be in the future for Houston in the next few weeks if things go their way in landing Kevin Durant. So right there, hit that subscribe button, because it is going to happen in the next few weeks. And if you want to know right away and you want to know all the latest, we're going to have for you right here on Rockets Digest. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you are tuned in to everything that is going on the Houston Rockets. And I'm excited, because I do think that Kevin Durant makes this team better. I do think that even if they had to trade away Jalen Green, if they had to trade away Cam Whitmore, Kevin Durant makes this team a favorite in the Western Conference, and honestly a favorite in the NBA. And that's where I want to bring you into this. What do you think about a trade for Kevin Durant? Is it something you're interested in? Would you rather him or Giannis Antetokounmpo? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section about this, because we are about to become like into the fire zone of a Kevin Durant trade. We talk about all these rumors, we talk about all this and how Kevin Durant trade is coming. It's coming now. Like, it is happening in the next 3 weeks, and you have to be ready, because there might be a blockbuster trade. It might send one of your favorite players away. It might send away somebody that you don't like, and that's all right. But the Rockets as a franchise are about to change potentially for the next 4 years if they do end up trading for Kevin Durant, and it will also shape the way this team looks over the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And it's a really exciting time for the Houston Rockets. Now, we do want to go to the latest favoring odds for Kevin Durant. Funny enough, originally it was a toss-up between the Rockets and Suns. The Timberwolves have now jumped in there, and it's really interesting to kind of see that. The Timberwolves, obviously being a team that made it to the Western Conference Finals this year, a team that is very capable of going back there again. They have Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert. They have a couple of different free agents that maybe won't be there, and the Rockets don't have too many free agents. Steven Adams is a big piece, but besides that, not a lot of guys that you're too worried about. But that is interesting and kind of a new report being in there, as they have a new partner to kind of look at in these trade talks, because it was originally going to be either he's getting traded to Houston or he'll just stay with Phoenix. Now the Timberwolves have jumped in there as a team to watch out for. So very interesting to kind of see how they've really just kind of hopped into the in here after losing to the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. And yeah, it's going to be a fun time in the next couple weeks. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section about whether you want Kevin Durant, whether you don't. What do you think about all that is going on? And then the final question: would you rather Kevin Durant or Giannis Antetokounmpo? Let me know down in the comment section. But either way, that does it for us here on Rockets Digest. I really do appreciate y'all watching, and if you have made it to the end of the video, I'd appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. Obviously, we're putting together more and more content, and the more subscribers we get, the more likely we are to be able to make more videos for you. So that would certainly help out. But that does it for now. We'll have you on another episode later on today. I think Donovan's going to get a video for y'all. But that does it for me, Jace, here on Rockets Digest. Peace out. We'll see you next time here.